one thing that has really helped me is uh, whenever you're learning something or you're picking up something new, try to see if you can formalize it in any way. So what I mean by that is, uh, if you picked up a new project or you picked up machine learning and you're exploring it.
For the past year at Inside IIM, we have been conducting one-on-one career coaching sessions as counsel, short domain-specific courses as masterclasses, and university-affiliated certificate programs. Now, we are extremely excited to announce that we have a new home for all these highly rated programs in altuni.in. So, if you're looking to earn a high salary, get a promotion, switch jobs, click on the link in the description or just visit altuni.in. Thank you, enjoy the video, and don't forget to press the bell icon to never miss an update. Cheers.
So my name is Abhiraj. I just graduated from BITS Goa. I was doing computer science there, and like some of my professional background is I've interned at Goldman Sachs and Amazon. Apart from that, I've also done a small. I've done a 1 month internship at a very early stage startup very recently because I had some time. My first internship was at Goldman Sachs, so I did a summer internship there last year, and my role there was that of basically a software developer. I was working in on the front end side of things, so JavaScript and stuff. Was React was the work I did at Goldman Sachs. After that, I've spent 6 months from in this year, from like Jan to July, at Amazon machine learning. So I was I was researching machine learning there basically. So this internship was a part of my curriculum. So basically, we have something called practice school at BITS. It means that in your final year you spend 1 semester at a company working as an intern, and this selection basically happens on the basis of your CGPA and the courses you've done. So Amazon again was a very different, very challenging role, and that was because we were supposed to we were given a business problem and we were supposed to invent an algorithm to tackle it. So it was very different from my experience with with front end dev that I had at Goldman, because here you're dealing with maths, you're dealing with a ton of integrals, you're reading 2-3 research papers in a week and understanding them, which is really hard. So it basically taught me to think very fundamentally, and it taught me to sort of take a problem and break it down and understand it properly, and to then solve it. If you have time for 2 or more internships, then you should definitely have at least one internship at a startup, especially at a really early stage startup, right, where no processes are established and nobody knows what's going on. You have to figure it out. So I think that is a very essential experience if you have 2 or more internships possible, in front of you. So there's this concept, okay, it's called mental accounting. It basically means that if you look at how your day has passed and you're trying to segment it into buckets where you did productive stuff and non-productive or fun stuff. So when you do that, you'll realize how much of your day was spent in doing what. So one mistake that a lot of people make is that whatever work you do for a department or a club, they often put it in as productive work. So I think once you move that to non-productive work and you treat it the same as watching a TV show, once you do that, it will become really really easy to prioritize, because you'll automatically cut down on all of it, because you'll cut down on the parts which are not all that useful to you. So that's what I did basically. I spent a lot of time in departments in like my first semester, but after that I started treating it the same as watching a TV show or like playing a computer game. And once I did that, I stopped spending that much time there and had enough time for academics and side projects and that sort of stuff thing. So for me, firstly, I realized that my true interest lies in problem solving, rather than in creating a product. So then when you come to technology based roles, there's two types. As a software developer, yes, you're solving problems, but primarily your aim is to create a product. And I think people who have the drive to create products are the ones who truly stick in the field and grow. So I quickly realized that this is not something I want to do. And from the rest of the interview, you may have gauged that I like exploring very different industries, very different things. So there's finance, tech, social sciences, everything. So in McKinsey, I saw something that put together both of these things. So in terms of strategy, I didn't do much before the shortlist. I read a book on consulting by Victor Cheng. It's like consulting tips and tricks sort of a thing. But apart from that, I didn't do much. Just put some effort into preparing the resume. And after the shortlist, I had 15 days before my final interviews. That is when my main prep happened. So the way consulting prep works is you sit with a buddy who gives you a case, and you solve the case alongside them. You basically simulate the real interview. And I did a ton of cases. You need to reach out to a lot of people who are out there in the industry, or other people who've gotten shortlisted with you. You sit together, you solve a case, uh, and you need to do, I would say, three cases a day. And finally, at along the 10th or 11th day, you'll realize that you developed your own case solving style, and that you're getting cases. You spend the last 4 days working on your communication, all of those things. And then finally, after 15 days, you give the interview. So my strategy was that I just waited till I got shortlisted, and after that I went into overdrive and did a lot of practice interviews and ended up getting it. So I realized that a lot of people come to college, they'll start comparative coding because it helps their coding skills and to crack interviews, which is true. But I think at some point you need to switch from comparative coding to lead code, which is not really comparative coding. It's just interview problem solving. So I made that switch like really late. So that is sort of one regret that I have, that if I made it earlier, it would have been better, because the questions that you are asked are directly from lead code. Like almost, you know, 90% of the times, unless you're interviewing at like a Google or something, most likely they're directly from lead code. And if they are coming directly from there, why not just solve as many of those as you can? Uh, so for my Amazon interviews as well, I had like 3 days. They just told me in 3 days you have an interview, and I hadn't done comparative coding in 2 years. So the last time I did it was like in 2018 when I got the Goldman Sachs internship. After that, another year passed, and then this year uh, they told me in 3 days you have an interview. So instead of trying to do any like hacker rank or code chef, I took to lead code this time. And in 3 days I was like able to reach a level that I could crack the interview like pretty easily. And one question was directly from the questions I had done. So all the people I spoke to also tell me that this happens a lot. If you do enough questions, you'll just find a question that you've done, and it becomes pretty easy. So that is with respect to tech interviews. This is like a different perspective because I didn't know this. Like LinkedIn is one of the most underused resources that college students have. So the reason for that is that most people don't build out their profile, in the sense that they don't add like basic information and everything there until like their third year or something. So my advice and my experience would be that build up your LinkedIn as soon as possible. Once you do that, uh, like once you do that, and alongside simultaneously in college, you would be doing some courses, or you would be working, doing some courses on like finance of your own interest, on machine learning. So LinkedIn allows you to reach people who are doing what you think you'll be doing in 5 years. And it's very useful to get that perspective directly, that this is the reality, this is what we do, rather than like getting their a real understanding of what the job involves. One thing I would say, and one thing that has really helped me is, uh, whenever you're learning something or you're picking up something new, try to see if you can formalize it in any way. So what I mean by that is, uh, if you've picked up a new project, or you've picked up machine learning and you're exploring it, try to see if you can work alongside a professor, or work alongside a company. So it's really hard to work alongside a company like your first second year, but you can always work alongside a professor, help in their research while also doing what interests you. So the way this helps is that it really works to boost like your resume, because once you have like a formal project, there will be defined deliverables, defined targets or whatever is expected of you, and you have to execute it. And once you do that, it gives your project like a, makes it much more impressive, right? Rather than saying I did the Andrew NG course on Coursera in your resume. Instead, if you say that I built a image classification platform working alongside professor like XYZ, so that is very useful, right? And in the best case, you could also probably get a paper out of the work that you do, and also like a recommendation letter, both of which are very valuable. So as I told you, right, I came to like engineering computer science as a herd mentality basically. So what I think is that as soon as you can, right, as soon as you enter college, dissociate from the herd mentality and try to start thinking on your own. And it's really hard to do that because there is so much sort of peer pressure to go and get like the highest paying job, or to get the highest grade or whatever. uh, but if you spend some time to reflect on what makes you happy and what you truly want to do, you will be able to like spend your college time much more fruitfully, because the herd mentality keeps changing. It could be something else in the first year, it could be something else in the second year, and everyone would be chasing after it. So instead of being a part of the pack, if you're treading your own path, like it will be like a lot more fruitful at the end of the day. So I picked up the dissociated from the herd mentality pretty late, like after 1-2 years in college. But I know people who dissociated from this mentality from the beginning itself, and they were always sort of doing their own thing. They knew what they wanted to do, and then they did that. And I've seen that they've gotten like great success. So that is one advice that I would give, to think about what you want to do consciously before doing it, rather than sort of doing it because everyone is doing it.